Greg Matthews, Alan Knott.
Who's that weirdo?
Daniel Sidhu, Neil Mackenzie.
Who's that weirdo?
Dwayne Leverock, Shannon Freed.
Who's that weirdo?
Chris Harris, Kevin O'Brien.
Who's that weirdo?
Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerilla Cricket, and after a break of about a month for Christmas, we're back with episode 5 of Who's That Weirdo, a test of skill, knowledge and overactive imaginations that separates the live cricketers from the dead cricketers and those who aren't cricketers at all but sound as though they ought to be. I'm Guerilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and today's edition matches occasional Guerilla Kit Harris, the finest Richie Benaud impersonator it's been my fortune to meet, but more importantly now, assistant editor of Wisden Almanack, against the award-winning author, Guardian writer, and possibly Michael Atherton's biggest fan, Emma John, who've been trying to get on for a while, and finally she has relented. Emma, welcome to Guerilla Cricket and Who's That Weirdo? How on earth did Kit manage to persuade you to come onto this orgy of chaos?
Well, he definitely didn't say that I'd be announced as Michael Atherton's biggest fan.
Are you not Michael Atherton's biggest fan? I thought that was...
No, I am. I'm a huge fan. I just, it's definitely one of those things that, you know, now feels like it's become such a parody of itself that
Are you trying to disown Michael Atherton?
I get nervous about hearing it.
Right.
Is there a scale to measure it by?
Well, exactly.
That'd be the interesting
To
thing.
be honest, I know that I'm not his biggest fan because I've met Miles Jupp, so
Miles, well, we've met Miles Jupp, not recently.
Miles Jupp is an even bigger Mike Atherton fan.
Really? Okay, well, we'll have to get Miles on this.
He's got kind of, you know, he's one of those people who remembers a lot of facts and stats, and he's got all the Athers knowledge in his head, to be honest, way more than I have, and I blooming wrote a book about, you know, that involved the man, and I'm terrible at that stuff, but Miles really knows his stuff.
Right, well, Miles will be our next target. He doesn't know it yet, but he will. If he's listening to this now, he will now know that we're after him. Now, your book, which you just sort of alluded to, was following on a memoir of teenage obsession and terrible cricket, and we can all relate to terrible cricket. When you said terrible cricket, was that terrible cricket from England in the early 90s? Is that what you were really referring to?
Oh, yes. Well, I didn't play cricket at all, so it wasn't my terrible cricket.
It wasn't your terrible cricket.
No, my terrible cricket has only recently started because I literally never played until last season. I joined Stoke Newington Cricket Club, who are just up the road from me. But no, when I was a teenager, it was just before all the This Girl Can and, you know, all those kind of campaigns to get women into cricket. And even though I was absolutely obsessed with the game, nobody would let me play it.
That's really sad. I mean, you probably know Annie Chave, who comes on our program quite a lot. And she had a similar situation, didn't she, when she was young? That she was trying to play for a boys' team and they wouldn't let her play. As far as I remember, that was the.
Well, mine was mostly my school. I mean, I didn't even know any teams or clubs. But I and certainly the one that was local to me was the Luton one was and possibly still is all male. But yeah, the school that I played, you know, the school that I went to was all girls, but there was a boys' school next door. And once I was really in love with cricket, I asked them, you know, could we, you know, we used to do the classic thing of in the summer it was like tennis or rounders. That was what we got to play. In winter it was lacrosse and netball. That was your options. In the summer it was tennis and rounders. And all kind of athletics, which was always really embarrassing because that had also the worst outfits. And so I really wanted them to kind of, you know, maybe show us how to play cricket in the amazing facilities that the boys' school next door had.
Right.
And we were told no. And then eventually, when I did finally persuade them in sixth form, you know, we got one session. And the boys and the male teachers just laughed at us because obviously we didn't know what we were doing. So it was the most dispiriting cricket experience you can imagine, and certainly not one that any girl who went to, you know, who turned up to play in England today would find, I think.
No, things seem to be improving greatly in that respect, don't they? I don't know really what's happening at clubs. I'm not that sort of involved with clubs anymore, so I don't know whether it's really growing as much as people are saying. Anyway, have you got anything else in the pipeline regarding writing, books or ideas that you're planning?
Oh my goodness, that's always the worst question. I'm sure it's lovely for people who do have things that they can immediately answer, but for those of us who kind of maybe aren't as organised. I mean, I bobble along, having vague ideas, and then trying to work out if they will work. And I'm definitely in the bobbling phase.
It's always a good phase to be in, the bobbling. Do you not think, Tony? But let's move on. That's an introduction for Emma. Let's talk about Kit, who he's just become an author.
Bobbling would be a very good name for a
have you
bluegrass
not?
artist, though.
Oh, true, it would, yes. Kit, if you're still there, are you still there?
I am still
He's
here.
still here. He is still there. You have just published your first book, I believe, which is called The Queen at Cricket. Tell us the idea behind this. Is this every game that the Queen has ever witnessed?
Yes, that's right. And along with, as it turned out, all the occasions when she held receptions for cricketers or really got involved with cricketers at all, according to the official records. And now, in fact, the idea came to me only after she had died. I found myself sort of casually wondering, how many cricket matches did she actually go to? And because I know she didn't go to very many football matches.
Right.
If you were the Queen, what would your cricketing experiences have been?
Mm-hmm.
We can all say, if we've been to test matches, we can all remember exactly which tests we've been to or which days or what happened on those days. So I decided it would be really fun to reconstruct the Queen's cricketing memories as a watcher. So that's what it is. It's a chronological journey through all the games that the Queen saw, live and in person, from 1947, when she first went with her father, to 2017, which was her last appearance at a test match at Lord's.
How difficult was it to track down those games? I mean, did you not have to sort of delve deep into old newspapers to find a mention of the Queen having been there on a particular day? Or was it through your access to back issues of the Wisden Almanack?
Well, as blessed and beautiful as the Almanack is, it wasn't terrifically helpful in finding the information, because Wisden is, of course, far more focused on the cricket than whether the Queen turns up.
Right.
And the MCC provided a list, which it said was partial. In fact, Emma herself managed to get that for me.
Oh, brilliant.
So then when I started investigating in the British Library, going through past newspapers, quickly established that the MCC's list was definitely partial. So, yes, got to work with the newspaper archives, digging up things like Surrey at Guildford, the Queen turning up too late for the game to still be on, so the cricketers all traipsed out again and had a county beer match, bun fight as they called it in the 50s. So, yes, it's a reconstruction of her cricketing journey.
You worked on that pretty quickly then. If you didn't do it until after she'd started on it, until after she died, and it came out in December, that's pretty swift work.
It is pretty swift work, and yes, I don't think many writers are used to working exceptionally hard for prolonged periods of time. But yes, it was quite a sweat to get it out, and lucky really that it having to write it didn't coincide with these last 2 months of working very, very hard to finish the Wisden Almanack, because January and February would have been a nightmare time to try and get anything done.
Oh, God. Well, of course, that comes out, what, about April, end of April or early May?
Mid-April, yeah, mid-April.
Okay. And what can you give us any little quick, things we should be looking out for this year, or is it all hush-hush and won't be revealed until the last minute?
Well, aside from the hush-hush expectation, which, of course, we do like to have, I think what are now called Easter eggs, things that you open the covers and look in our Part 1 comment section and say, oh, that's fun. There are things which, of course, you can predict easily will be in there. Our coverage of Shane Warne's death and his life, I should say, more correctly. That's very, very detailed, and we've got some very good writing on that and covering it from a range of angles. This wonderful cricketer and all his great achievements.
Yeah, that must have been the biggest shock of the last year, mustn't it, Shane Warne? I don't think any of us could really believe that had happened. Anyway, so that's The Queen at Cricket. That's Kit Harris's new book. Have a look out for that. And just a reminder that Emma's book is following on a memoir of teenage obsession and terrible cricket. Let's get on with the show. The other man I haven't introduced to you so far is very patient Tony Bishop, sitting here alongside me, and he's just going to give you a rundown, a reminder for those of you listening for the first time of the rules of Who's That Weirdo. Tony.
Well, yes, thank you, Hendo. It's all very simple. There are going to be 12 questions. Each comprises a person's name. Each of those will be either a live cricketer, a dead cricketer, or not a cricketer at all. You just need to use your knowledge, skill, or judgment to say which you think they are. If you think the name is not a cricketer, then you need to say, who's that weirdo? And if you don't, depending on his mood, Hendo may apply a penalty of some kind, ranging in severity, dependent upon that mood, really. There are some other things. There's a toss to start. You can choose to open or put your opponent in. Correct answers will accrue 2 points. A wrong answer means it's passed to your opponent, who can win bonus points. If you were correct, you also get to guess the age of the individual, currently or at the sad time of their demise. Within 3 years earns you an extra point. If you're bang on the nose, it's a boundary, 4 points. If it's a weirdo, you have to try and guess the reason why they're famous. They might be a musician, a politician, business person, record breaker, writer, philosopher, or indeed absolutely anything else. And finally, whether you like it or not, I'm going to tell you a bit about each of the people before we move on to the next question. What really could be simpler?
Yeah, it sounds immensely complicated to me, so we'll probably go wrong, even though I've done it 4 times before. Right, I think, Emma, we shall give you the chance to call on the coin toss. I have a newly minted King Charles coin. No, I wish I did. I don't. I have an old Her Majesty the Queen pound coin here. I'm going to toss. Do you want to call tails or heads?
Heads.
Oh, I've lost it. It's been flying over my shoulder.
That's a great one.
So let's just say that'll be found in about 3 months' time when someone goes down the back of this chair. So let's just say that you won the toss. Do you wish to bat, or do you wish to put Kit into bat?
No, I'll open.
You're open. Wow, that's.
I'll open because I genuinely don't know what the level of knowledge required is going to be, and so I feel like I know that I'm going to embarrass myself, so I might as well just get that over with.
Well, that is the whole point. That is the whole point. To have people involved in cricket embarrassing themselves. That's basically what we decided that this show should be about. So you will have the first name for Who's That Weirdo, episode 5, and the name is Susan Redhead, West Indies. Live cricketer, dead cricketer, or Who's That Weirdo? Susan Redhead, West Indies.
I want that to be a live cricketer, so I'm going to say live cricketer.
Oh, what a start for Emma on Who's That Weirdo, episode 5, because Susan Redhead is indeed a live cricketer, so that earns you 2 points, and if you can guess how old she currently is, you may get extra points. How old do you think live cricketer Susan Redhead is?
Well, let's go youngish. Go 24.
Oh, no, I'm way. No extra points, I'm afraid, for you on that one. Susan Redhead is 60, would you believe? Susan Redhead is 60, and Tony has more details about Susan Redhead.
Well, the first thing is she's not a redhead. Either that or she has some very powerful hair dye. She was born in June 1962. She's a Grenadian former cricketer who played as a right-handed bat. She appeared in 3 one-day internationals for the West Indies in 2003 and played domestic cricket for Grenada. She only made 8 runs in those 3 games, all of which were against the Sri Lankan women. Retired in 2011, scoring 17 as opener for Grenada versus Dominica at Bridgetown. Then Grenada won by a thumping 216 runs, so she went out on a high. She did once present the Player of the Match awards to Stephanie Taylor after a West Indies win against Pakistan in a T20 in 2015. That, I have to say, was the only photographic record I could unearth of her.
Well, there you go. Susan Redhead, great name, and quite a good by the sounds of it. So 2 points to Emma. She leads by 2 points to 0. We move to Kit with the second name of Who's That Weirdo, Clarence Hill, Bermuda. Live cricketer, dead cricketer, or Who's That Weirdo?
Oh, it seems like a very Bermudan name.
Bermudian.
You see, when you see C Hill, and then you think, okay, C Hill, that sounds like a cricketer because you think of Clem Hill.
Yes.
So is that? But Clarence fits, doesn't it, for West Indian names? Clarence Best. I knew he was from Barbados. I think you're trying to trick me. I'm going to go for Who's That Weird?
Oh, you are on incredible form, you two, today, because Clarence Hill indeed is a weirdo. Well, he's not really a weirdo, but he is. Well, you can guess what he is. See if you can guess what he is for an extra point, Kit.
He is. What is he? It's something to do with Windows.
Well, he may have practiced on Windows in the same sort of way as Matthew Pryor did at Lord's, but he's not actually a window cleaner or anything like that. What is he, Tony?
He's a boxer. And he was the Olympic heavyweight bronze winner in Montreal in 1976. He's not just any old medalist, though. He was Bermuda's first ever Olympic medalist. The other, as I'm sure you know, Hendo, being Florence Duffy, who won gold in the women's triathlon at Tokyo in 2020. Our friend Clarence beat in 1976, or he lost rather, in the semi-final to Romania's Mircea Simeon. He did then, although, have a rather anonymous professional career. Things rather went off the rails. He ended up in the nick, got divorced, life went downhill, and he got done for cocaine possession and armed robbery. But during his second stint in jail, he lost his drug habit, I beg his pardon, and was re-schooled as a carpenter. There is a statue of him in Bermuda and a painting, and he's become something of a national hero.
There you go. He is, absolutely. I mean, he's a big name in Bermuda, I can tell you that. So it's 2 apiece. No extra bonus points accrued yet, but we go to name number 3, back to Emma. Frank Walters, Australia. Frank Walters, Australia. Dead cricketer, live cricketer, or who's that weirdo?
I'm going to say that's a dead cricketer.
You're absolutely on fire, you people. You've been catching up, haven't you? I think, or either maybe someone leaked the names online. You're absolutely right. He is a dead cricketer. Now he died some time ago. But what age was he when things went south for him? And any particular guess that you'd like to make on that?
I'm going to guess 53.
Oh, not bad, but not good enough for a bonus point, I'm afraid. He died in 1922 at the age of 62, and it was quite a sad ending, wasn't it, for Frank Walters, Tony?
Well, rather sadly, he fell off the back of a boat. He did a bit of a Robert Maxwell, by the sounds of it, at the age of 62, as you rightly said. He was a one-test wonder for Australia, was Frank, right-hand middle-order bat. That test was in 1885 at the MCG against England. Didn't go particularly well. He made 7 before being LBW to George Ulyett, and 5 in the second innings, done by the Nottinghamshire duo of William Atwell taking the catch off the bowling of Will Flowers off spin. He played a lot of first-class cricket for New South Wales and Victoria between 1880 and 1896. Highest score of 150, average of only... but an average of only 21, and just took 1 wicket in his time with right arm something or other. He moved to Sydney in the late 19th century after purchasing the Criterion Hotel. All 4 of his first-class centuries were scored at the SCG. Got married and died off the sea of the Bombay, in the Bay of Bombay, alas, as he was returning to Australia from a holiday.
Yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it? There wasn't a whole lot more detail about exactly what happened there, but that was the end of Frank Walters. Died in 1922. It's 4-2 to Emma. Can Kit level here? The 4th name on our list this afternoon is Luha Ismail Bai, India. Live cricketer, dead cricketer. Who's that weirdo?
I feel like I want you to spell it for me, so I can visualize it on a scorecard.
I can do that for you. Luhar, Luhar, Ismail Bai, which is Ishmailbhai. Does that help?
Bhai.
Bhai.
Well, that seems strange, because by Bhai at the end of a name in India means sort of sir, doesn't it, or Mr.
Oh, that's interesting.
They say Sachin Bai as a term of respect to refer to Sachin Tendulkar. So that seems unusual to see it at the end of a name. Ishmael with an H in it. Okay, well, I'm not sure. We've got Dara Ismail Khan. That was a Indian first-class team back in the day. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go, who's that weirdo again?
And you're absolutely right. You two are the best people that we've had so far on this program. Most people get things wrong, but you've been all absolutely on the spot.
It's entirely beginner's luck. You will notice in the next question.
We will see. We'll see. Maybe it's very good for beginner's luck that lasts for the whole of the program. That'd be fantastic. So Luha Ismail Bai is indeed Who's That Weirdo? But in what way is she a weirdo, Cato? Would you like to sort of offer a guess on that?
It's a she, is it?
It's a she. Now that's what makes it so interesting, isn't it?
Yes, that does make it interesting. Luha Ismail Bai. Well, I'm just going to put my dart somewhere on the dartboard. There are such a great many local and national politicians in India. I'm going to go with politics.
It's a good guess, but it's not right, as they used to say on, what was that program on ITV? I can't remember. Anyway, it's gone.
Catchphrase.
Catchphrase, that's the one. It's good, but it's not right. I can't even remember who the host of that was now.
Roy Walker.
That's...
Am I getting
Roy
points?
Somebody? I can't remember.
Roy Walker.
Roy Walker. That's
not Roy Plumley.
No,
that was
not
Desert Island Discs.
No, indeed not. So tell us, Tony, Luha Ismail Bai, what was she? Or what
Well,
was
look,
she
to be honest,
for?
I'm absolutely amazed you don't know this, Hendo, for goodness sake. I mean, she's the woman who has the most published academic papers in the field of concrete technology. But she's clearly not set in her ways. She's 36 from Jaipur, world record holder, an eco-friendly material scientist come inventor, professional chartered engineer, author many times over, prominent in both conventional and geopolymer concrete technology, of course, and building material. She's authored a book independently titled Fly Ash and Slag-Based Geopolymer Concrete Experimental Facts. If you don't have that on your bookshelf, get onto Amazon immediately.
It must be flying off those shelves, mustn't it? Absolutely.
When I looked, well, probably not if it's concrete. And when I looked, she had no less than 23 honours and awards. She's probably got a couple more by now. She should be
better known based on the fact that the IPL is effectively financed by concrete. But there you go. Anyway, it's 4-4 after two names apiece. We move on to the last two names before the break, and this is for Emma. Dawn Newman, Australia, live cricketer, dead cricketer, or Who's That Weirdo? Dawn Newman. Has it struck a chord deep?
It definitely feels. This is the thing. It's going. I know this one's going to turn out not to be a cricketer, but I feel like it sounds like one, and I would never want to. I would never want to say that somebody wasn't a cricketer if they were. I'd rather get it wrong that way round.
Right. So you're going for cricketer, but alive or dead?
I'm going to go for cricketer. I'm going to go Dawn Newman. I'm going to go live. I would have to go live because I don't think Dawn's a name that makes me think very old. So I'm going to hope that she's a cricketer. I'm going to believe that she's a cricketer, and I'm going to hope that she's still alive.
You're absolutely right. There's just no stopping you guys at the moment. 6 points to Emma. She is indeed a live cricketer. And for that bonus point that could make all the difference at the end of this scintillating game, can you guess how old she currently is?
Well, this is one where I'm like, Dawn is a name that, to me, that's a name. I don't think of Dawn as being a name that's been around longer than the 70s, really. I mean, I might be wrong. I do know it is quite a popular name in Australia, actually, Dawn. But I think, let's say that she was born in the 80s. What would she be now? 80s, 90s. Oh,
there's maths going on here.
She'd be in her early. She might be in her early 40s, late. I'm gonna say 43.
All that work that you did, and you're absolutely nowhere near. She's a lot older than that. She's 80, would you believe? So Dawn has been around for a little bit longer in Australia. It sounds like. Maybe it was just a very occasional name at that time. And Tony's got more news about Dawn Newman.
Well, quite a cricketing family, actually. She's born in Mount Hawthorn, Western Australia. She played 3 test matches for Australia against England in 68-69. She's right-hand bat. As I say, comes from a family of cricketers. She's one of 3 sisters who have represented Western Australia at state level. Her older sister, Betty, was a left-arm medium pace bowler, selected to play for Australia in 1958, but was only 12th person, or 12th. What do you go? 12.
Yes, good point, actually.
Dawn played in the same state team as Betty in season 63-64 as a wicketkeeper and right-hand back. Dawn's twin sister Elaine also played for Western Australia, but Barbara is the mother of former Test and ODI cricketer Bruce Reid.
Bruce Reid,
yeah, so
the lanky left arm.
She toured England in 68, 69. Dawn was selected to make her Test debut at the Thurberton Oval in Adelaide. Muriel Picton was the skipper that day, and some other notables in the team were Mim Key, Anne Gordon, Patsy May, Elaine Bray and Ollie Smith. Dawn top scored for the Aussies that day with 76.
Well, there you go. That's Dawn Newman. One more name to go. See if Kit can once again level up the scores. It's going to be a tight one, this. I can feel it in my bones. The sixth name, before we go to the break, is Thomas McCarty, England.
Thomas McCarty.
Yeah, do you want me to spell that for you again?
No, it's okay. McCarty.
Okay.
Thomas McCarty, England.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So what I need to ask is, when you say England, are you referring simply to the England adult men's team, or does it include teams like England Deaf or England Limited Mobility? Because I don't think there's been an England player in the traditional sense by that name. But there might. So I
possibly know all the names.
If they're a cricketer, though, if they're a cricketer, then they're a cricketer.
Yeah,
right. Okay, so
let's put it this way: anyone whose name comes up when you put them into Crick Info.
Oh God! I mean, that includes me. That's ridiculous.
Well, who knows what the next name coming up after the break is? It could be Kit Harris, but it'd be
okay. So
you got that wrong.
I'm not convinced that it's someone who has played for the England men's senior team.
Right. You don't actually have to play. I mean, you could be an English cricketer who's played county cricket. You don't have to be a.
I see.
Yes, it's not just international cricketers. It's cricketers for county cricket, for T20s, ODIs.
Everything.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
So, right. Well, I'll go for cricketer then. What did you say his first name was?
Thomas
McCarty. He's alive then.
It's not a live cricketer, but moving over for a bonus point to Emma, is he a dead cricketer or a weirdo?
I'm going to say he's a dead cricketer.
No! For the first time, you've both gone wrong. He's not a dead cricketer, so there's no extra points for anyone as we go into the break. He is a weirdo, and well, I say weirdo. I mean, he's had quite an extraordinary life, Thomas McCarty.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was an English circus performer. He was a one-armed lion tamer. He was born in Cork around 1838, but I guess we should probably start by addressing the elephant, or perhaps the lion in the room. Why did he only have one arm? And he was indeed mauled by a lion. And in fact, he was killed in 1872 by his own lion, so that gives you a clue as to that. He had his left arm torn off in the circuses of Messrs. Bell and Myers in Liverpool in 1862. Although his cries summoned help from a performer, it was too late to save the severely damaged arm. Sadly, when he died, he had two more lucky escapes. One in Bolton, and then I think he had one lucky escape in Blackpool, somewhere up north, and then he died in Bolton. He died, as many entertainers have, in Bolton. He'd been on the bottle, turned his back on the lions, who proceeded to kill him. He was rescued from the lions as quickly as possible, but ere this could be done, the newspaper report said, he was frightful, torn by their teeth and claws, his legs, heads and hand being lacerated to such a degree that the flesh was completely torn away from the bones. So if you're a football fan, you will have heard of Bolton's most famous son, Nat Lofthouse, known as the Lion of Vienna, but he had nothing to do with it.
There you go, and he didn't play for England Lions either. Boom, boom. That is the end of the first part of Who's That Weirdo, episode 5. We're going to go shortly to the musings and the thinkings of Chris Woke, our social justice.
What's the scores on the door?
The scores on the door as we go into the break is Emma 6, Kit 4.
Craig Matthews, Alan Knott,
Who's That Weirdo?
Nigel Sidhu, Neil Mackenzie,
Who's That Weirdo?
Dwayne Leverock, Shane Freed,
Who's That Weirdo?
Chris Harris. Harris, Kevin O'Brien.
Who's that weirdo?
All right, there, me ducks, and Happy New Year. And, of course, Happy Lunar New Year. It's Chris Woke here, nipping the ball around and bigotry in the bud. I've had enough of totalitarian states being allowed to host major sporting events. These so-called nations are a menace to society. Their shameful human rights records and disgraceful laws designed to oppress minority groups are an absolute scourge on our global community. And that's why I'm backing a blanket ban on cricket in Wales. Did you know it's a criminal offence to walk into a butcher's in Swansea and ask for English lamb, or to demand a rarebit from any other part of the world? Were you aware, people, that laughing at Ian Rush's moustache from 1982 to 1989 carried the death penalty in Newport? These are the acts of a savage regime. Our great game must take a stand. So, from 2023, there will be no mid-ons in Mid-Glamorgan, no gower on the gower, and no silly points in Kid Welly will be given the boot. Barry Wood given half a chance, but won't be allowed to. Fishguard will not be protected. Didn't we have a lovely time the day we went to Bangor? No, we didn't, because the fascist police force arrested us for daring to suggest that Bromsgrove's telephone box museum is superior to Penryn Castle. Whales would live in Wales, apparently, because there are no whaling ships in Aberystwyth, whereas there are in Japan and Norway. But I'll tell you this, the woke roadshow of cricket, forced inclusion and all, will not be making an appearance in this evil principality. From this moment, we will be putting in place a total Jeffrey. Tom Jones, Shirley Bassey, Robert Croft, JPR Williams, Charlotte Church, Max Boyce. Can you hear me, Max Boyce? Your boys, girls, other identifiers are about to take one hell of a beating. Remember, you can't make a shakshuka without cracking eggs, unless, of course, you're constructing the vegan version, which is equally but differently delicious. Until next woke, ta-ra, me ducks.
Craig Matthews, Alan Knott.
Who's that weirdo?
Daniel Tudor, Neil Mackenzie.
Who's that weirdo?
Dwayne Leverock, Shane Freed.
Who's that weirdo?
Chris Harris, Kevin O'Brien.
Who's that weirdo?
Welcome to the second part of Who's That Weirdo, episode 5. Our guests today are Emma John, Guardian writer and author, and Kit Harris, who is the assistant editor of Wisden Almanack.
Wisden. I actually want to see that publication. Wisden.
Wisden
version.
That's what I'm sure. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe
Wisden.
Yeah, that's more like us, isn't
us,
it? Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely us, actually. Wisden cricketers, that's us. So, back to Emma for the first name of the second half. She leads by 6 points to 4. Now, I always have trouble with Sri Lankan names because they have a lot of syllables in, but hopefully I'm going to get this right. Dimithu Kumarasinghe, Sri Lanka. Live cricketer, dead cricketer, or who's that weirdo?
I'm gonna go. I mean, do you know what? Live cricketer has done me well so far in this game, so I'm just gonna go live cricketer.
No, I'm afraid it's the first time you've taken a wrong step. So we move over to Kit and ask him: is it a dead cricketer or a who's that weirdo?
Well, given that every time anything's come in front of me so far, it's been a weirdo. I'm going to go with. Well, you see, I'm a bit. You see, it's risky because by the Tom McCarthy criterion, if there's anyone who plays cricket in Sri Lanka who has that name, he could be it. Well, it could be an English player called Tom McCarthy.
No, I checked that out. There isn't.
Oh, okay.
I am aware of this, especially with sort of overseas names, and I do check to see whether they could be considered. There were similar names for different jobs, but no.
Right.
So,
Dimithu
Kumarasinghe.
So I'll go for who's that weird.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You've levelled at 6-all. He is indeed a weirdo. And would you like to offer a guess on on why he's a weirdo. What could he be? What could Dimitri Kumarasinghe be if he's not a cricketer?
I'll do this in honour of the Icelandic Sri Lankans who dominate the national cricket team over there, with whom I am friends, and all of them, without exception, are amazing chefs. So I'm going to go with a chef.
Well, I did.
That has completely thrown me. I never thought you would get it.
What?
But you he's a chef. He is a chef. Tell us more about this chef. Dimitri Kumarasinghe.
Just any old chef.
Just any old chef.
Just any old chef. Dimitri Kumarasinghe is the third best chef in Sri Lanka, as voted by Top Chef's website. He has been president of the Chefs Guild of Sri Lanka for 52 years, since 1971. Since moving to Sri Lanka in 2000, he's worked for the Aitken Spence Hotel management team. He was the only chef in the world to have won 9 gold medals in individual events at the Culinary Olympics, held in 2004 and 2006.
Is that the first time anyone's ever guessed a weirdo, what they do?
Pretty much, as far as we know, yes.
Yeah, Messager's got really close with regards to a Barbadian politician, but I think someone to actually get it right on the nose like that I think that's the first, Kit. Well done.
Anyway, those events at that Olympics included such august events as the artistic pastry showpiece, and the pulled sugar event. For the record, above him on the best Sri Lankan chefs list are Peter Kuravita and Chef Duminda, if you've ever heard of either of those two, with your in-depth knowledge, Kit, of Sri Lankan chefery.
Well, that's amazing, isn't it? Basically, if you're in Sri Lanka, you're either a cricketer or a chef, it seems to me, basically from what we have found. So Kit has taken the lead. He's gone to 7 points. Emma needs to get back in the game, trailing 6 points to 7, or 6 runs to 7, if you want to call it that. Let's move on to name number 8. And the name number 8 is Ian Payne, England. Live cricketer, dead cricketer, or who's that weirdo?
Just remind me, how many names in total are there?
12.
80.
I know.
yeah, we're going to be here till tomorrow, basically.
Wait, and now I've totally forgotten. Was it Ian Payne, did you
Ian
say?
Payne, yes. Ian Payne, England.
And is the Payne with a Y? Or
It is with a Y.
It is with a Y.
Yes.
It is with a Y because...
You're not supposed to be helping out here, Kit. You're supposed to be trying to win.
I reckon he was on the Somerset staff.
This is unheralded, basically.
I reckon he was on the Somerset. I'm
Kitty's trying to help out his opponent.
And tell me, Kit, how old would you say he is? And do you think he's still around?
Wait, hang on a minute. This is me. This is my one. It's the 8th one.
It's my one. It's definitely been given to me.
Hang on, I may have made a complete cock up.
You got the Sri Lankan wrong.
I've made a complete cock up. It is, sorry, I must admit, it is for Cato. Sorry about that. We're going to have to record the whole programme again because I made a complete muck up. No, Ian Payne, sorry about that, Emma. It is indeed Cato's question. Ian Payne, England, live cricketer, dead cricketer, who's that weirdo?
Well, I think he was on the Somerset staff. I think he was on the Somerset staff. If he was, yes, Payne.
Payne even. He's a very good friend of yours by the sounds of it.
I reckon, and I'll tell you the story now, so that if it's wrong, I look even more stupid than if I save it in case I am wrong. I used to play club cricket in South London at Our Lane Cricket Club. Massive. I'm a huge Somerset fan, which is why you can have a big cackle if this is wrong. In the 1990s, I was playing in a game with a club mate called Justin Naish, and he came out to bat in a Somerset shirt. And I said, "Wow, how have you got a Somerset shirt? That's so cool." I didn't have one. He said, "I got it from one of the players." And I said, "Who?" And he said, "Payne." And I reckon that was Ian Payne. Or I reckon that's Ian Payne. I'm going to go cricketer alive.
And you're absolutely right. We can't get past Kit. His knowledge is so deep that...
Well, his knowledge is very deep. I'm not denying that, but you have literally picked somebody from his team.
Well, actually, I didn't.
Have we though?
Have we now? Because we're going to ask Cato for his extra point. How old he thinks Ian Payne might be at this stage?
Well, I would go 52.
Absolutely nowhere near. So I don't know what you're talking about. No, he's not. He's 64. Now, we're going to find out whether Ian Payne did indeed play for Somerset, because Tony's going to tell us.
Well, not as far as I could see. Very much alive, you're absolutely right. He was born in 1958 in Kennington, played for Gloucestershire and Surrey between 87 and 1987 and 1996, I think. Mostly Surrey, and then the last 2 years with Gloucestershire. After a bit of a break, he then played for Shropshire, I beg your pardon, between 1994 and 97, so he had quite a long time off. He played 47 first-class games, right-arm, medium and right-arm bat, mainly a bowler, decent economy rates. His best first-class bowling figures were 5 for 13 in Surrey's innings victory over Gloucestershire in 83. His best list A figures were 5 for 21 against Derbyshire. He played for Oswestry Cricket Club as a director, and he and his wife Jules run a PR company in Oswestry called the Jules Payne Partnership.
There you go.
No link, as far as I know, with Somerset.
So do you think, Kid, it was just the sort of the West Country link, the fact that he played a few games for Gloucestershire just up the road, really, from Somerset, isn't that? Wouldn't you say that?
Well, that wouldn't explain why Justin Naish had
Payne written on his jumper.
Well, no, it was a white one. It was a county championship one.
There's more than one Payne.
There must be more than one Payne that's played cricket over the years.
So I simply guessed it right on the basis that I thought of someone completely different called Payne.
Yeah, so you're just incredibly lucky, and especially as you pointed out that it was your call anyway, as opposed to Emma's. So moving back to Emma, we have scores of 9 to Kit and 6 to Emma. So Emma has some catching up to do. The next name we have is Jason Flores, Australia. Live cricketer, dead cricketer, or who's that weirdo? Jason Flores.
Is it Floris?
No, it's Floros.
OS. Oh.
Jason
If it was Floris, then I wanted him to be a perfumier.
Well, no, I can't say anything.
Jason Flores.
Floros.
Yeah.
Sometimes slightly dental, doesn't it, Flores? I don't know, but a bit like Flores.
Do you know what? I'm just gonna stick with my strategy of just going live cricketer.
And you'd be wise to do so, because Jason Flores is indeed a live cricketer. You cut the lead of Kit Harris down to 1 point. Jason Flores is indeed a live cricketer. And to draw level, how old is Jason Flores? Is he a man who's around at the moment, or has he been around in the past?
I'm gonna say he's 37.
Oh, you were so close. I was thinking we were going to get the first boundary of the afternoon, but not quite. He is, in fact, 32 years old, Jason Flores. Tell us a little bit more about him, Tony.
Well, if you look for pictures of him, you'll see he's a redhead, unlike Susan Redhead, who we found out early on wasn't. He's from Woden, Canberra. He's an all-round left-hand bat and right-arm off-break bowler. Played for Queensland and a bit for Brisbane Heat and Sydney Thunder in the Big Bash. Last played first-class cricket in 2017 and T20s in 2018. He averaged 22 with the bat in 15 first-class games for Queensland and took 26 wickets at 44. He did own, maybe still does, 2 pet snakes.
Okay.
And he's now the finance officer for Queensland Cricket.
Brilliant. There you go. There's always find jobs for ex-cricketers who haven't done very well,
absolutely.
haven't they? The journeyman.
He can count snakes, obviously.
Indeed.
Whether he can count money, I don't know.
Well, that means that we are now Kit on 9, Emma on 8. We move on to Kit's penultimate name, and this is Mahmood Hussain, Pakistan. Dead cricketer, live cricketer.
Hang on a minute. Mahmood Hussain.
Mahmood Hussain. I know you're going to say there must be about 20 Mahmood Hussains, but I can guarantee you
20? There must be about 100,000.
Well, but how many of them are cricketers? And is indeed this man a cricketer? I'm not saying that he is or he isn't. I mean, how many Mahmood Hussains who aren't cricketers might there be? A tough one, isn't it?
Is there? Well, then I am 100% certain that there is a Mahmood Hussain who has played first-class cricket in Pakistan.
Right.
100%. There must have been. I'm not thinking of anyone in particular.
No, it's a bit like the sort of 3 Imran Khans, isn't it? There are at least 3 Imran Khans who played.
If we delve down into a certain hardback yellow cricket book.
Well, hopefully you're not wandering around trying to look in that at this particular moment.
No, I'm wandering around
I'm being very
anguish.
trusting. You've not gone to your enormous bookshelf.
Well, he's
At home.
yes, he must be. It must be a cricketer, definitely.
But is he living or is he dead?
Is one of them alive or dead? Interesting question.
One of the many Mahmood Hussains.
Mahmood Hussain. Yeah, yes, a live cricketer.
No, you're absolutely wrong.
We'll soon see about that.
He's a dead cricketer. I'm going to go over to Emma. I'm going to say, if you can guess the age at which he perished, you will get a bonus point. How old was Mahmood Hussain when he died?
Well, do you know what we've gone with a lot of people in the 60s, and I feel like 60 is old enough that it won't make me sad that he's dead. But it's also, it's also not in the kind of upper reaches of long life.
Hang on, I'm nearly 60. It won't make you sad if I'm just dropped dead.
I'm past 60, so hold on.
I feel like anything under 60 is the kind of age at which when you report it in the paper, you say the tragically young age of.
Yes.
I don't think people in their 60s and upwards get that courtesy.
No, sadly. So you're going for 60.
What my brutal journalistic mind is going for. Yeah, so I'll just go bang on the nose, 60.
Well, that's very good. That's a very good guess. It's not quite good enough for the boundary, but he was indeed 59 when he died in 1991. So you get a bonus point, which means that you have levelled going into the final round of names. But before we go into the final round of names, Tony will tell me a little bit more about Mahmood Hussain VII.
Yeah, he died at 59 in 1991. He was a right-arm quick. He was born in Lahore, but died sadly at Northwick Park Hospital, where I'm sure you knew I used to be a gardener.
Stanmore, isn't it?
Yeah, in Wembley.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to do the gardens there. It used to be one of my most exciting jobs in the past. One of the stalwarts of Pakistan's early cricket, he played from 1952 to 1962, took 60 wickets in 29 test matches. First played in Pakistan's second ever test on their 1953 tour of India, took 3 for 35 and 1 for 57. Polly Umnagar was his first ever wicket, bowled for 15. He was the fastest of a trio of new ball bowlers around whom Pakistan's attack was built in the 1950s. Fazal Mahmood, Khan Mohammed and Mahmood Hussain were all born in Lahore and did their city proud as they helped Pakistan to one famous victory after another. After an unsuccessful tour of England, he faded away but made one more appearance in England as manager of the 1978 Pakistan team. He then had gone off to become a successful businessman, spent his summers in Wembley, hence dying rather sadly. He was a very larger-than-life character. I think it was diabetes got him in the end, and he died at Northwick Park.
Well, I think it's a tragic death, even though he was 59.
I'm with you.
And did you find any other Mahmood Hussain cricketers while you were looking through?
I have to say I wasn't looking that hard. I focused on this one.
It's a good job we got the right one then. Yeah. Well, we go into the final round of names. One apiece, with the score at 9 to Emma and 9 to Kit.
Should be two more. You're on number 11 and then number 12.
Yeah, but it's the final round, isn't it?
I'm with you.
Absolutely,
of course it is.
So this is for Emma. Can you tell us Angela Fredericks, New Zealand, live cricketer, dead cricketer, or who's that weirdo? Angela Fredericks.
Well, okay, Okay, interesting. My instinct, and I think you should always go with your instinct. I've got one thing in my head which is my instinct, which is not my answer. I'm not answering it. I'm still.
It's not your final answer.
It's called external processing. My instinct is I want to go dead cricketer. My strategic brain realizes that I have not yet had somebody who wasn't a cricketer, and therefore there's, it feels like there's a better than average chance that this would be it. This would be my my opportunity to go for somebody who wasn't. But I am just going to go. I think you should always go with your gut. So I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm just going to say dead cricketer.
Oh, Angela Fredericks is not a dead cricketer. So, Kit, is she a live cricketer or a weirdo?
I will go. Well, in the Emma John spirit of sticking to the mode, almost everything I've had has been Who's That Weirdo?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with Who's That Weirdo?
And you're absolutely right. She is indeed a weirdo. Would you like to guess? I mean, he was so good with the Sri Lankan chef. Would you like to guess what Angela Fredericks has notoriety for?
Notoriety for?
Well, notoriety, or a level of fame, I suppose.
Let's wander into the criminal underworld. She's a criminal.
She's a criminal.
I liked notoriety.
Type
So
of
we'll go with
criminal.
Yes.
What sort of criminal would you go for?
Oh God, I can't. Well, I think she's done someone in.
She's a murderess.
Well, you know what they say: never trust an Angela.
Do they say that?
Well, it's as true today as it's ever been.
Okay, fair enough. So you reckon that she
Harsh on Angela Rippon. I
I was going to say Angela Merkel.
Angela Lansbury. I mean, come on, that's really harsh.
Angela Lansbury, especially. Of course, had quite a big connection with murder. I'm afraid to say that Angela Fredericks is not a murderer. She is. What is she, Tony?
Well, she's not a murderer. I wouldn't call this murder, but she's the woman with the fastest time to open 100 mussels. Yep, she's the world's fastest shucker. In 2016, Blenheim mussel opener Angela Fredericks beat her own record for opening 100 green shell mussels at the Havelock Mussel Festival. She took 1 minute 50 seconds to beat her previous record set the previous year by 1 second. Urged on by a big noisy crowd, the young mum took an average time of 1.16 seconds per every one of those 100 mussels. She dedicated the win to her son Nixon, who had celebrated his first birthday on the day of the triumph, and she had been 4 days before giving birth to Nixon when she won the title of the event in 2015. I was never confident of breaking the record, she said. It's always different. It's still as scary as always. There were fumbles. It was very tiring and hot. So there you go. Oh, by the way, and for the record, in the Mussel Munch competition of the same event, Carl Buckland swallowed a dozen mussels and drank a glass of beer in less than a minute. To win the event ahead of 13 competitors. He said the key is to swallow them whole and not chew them.
I thought that was true of mussels. I mean, I'm not a mussels fan. Are either of you mussels fans?
Not especially.
Yeah, especially those New Zealand ones. The big green-lipped mussels are.
Well, that's it. The green shells, absolutely. That's
green shells.
That's the one she shucked.
There you go. There was the clue. That you should have gone with your strategic mind there, Emma.
I feel like this is it. I've lost now, haven't I?
No, because you can make up points on the basis that Kit might get this last.
Does she need snookers though?
She might need snookers, but we'll have to see how it goes. And of
is
course,
there a mussel shucking tiebreak?
There isn't, but we probably should have done that. We should have lined you up with mussels to actually sort of separate you, shouldn't we? That'll be for another show.
It'll be a midweek replay.
Indeed,
in Stoke on Tuesday night.
We go to the final name with Kit leading by 11 points to 9. But can he hang on to the lead with the final name? And the final name is Prabir Sen, India. Live cricketer, dead cricketer, or who's that weirdo? Prabir Sen.
P. Sen? Well, there is a Sen, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah, there is a Sen. There's a P.
Sure.
Yeah, yes, P. Sen is a cricketer and an alive man.
No, you're not right. He may be a cricketer, or he may be a weirdo. So we go over to Emma to see if she can grab a bonus point. Dead cricketer, or who's that weirdo?
Let's just go dead cricketer.
You're absolutely right. You get a bonus point, but it's not
a bonus
enough.
point isn't enough to level me, is it?
No, it isn't. I'm afraid.
Wait a minute.
Hang on. No, there is, because we've got to go for age. And if you can get it on the nose, the age at which Prabir Sen departed this mortal coil, you will snatch the win like a greedily gobbled mussel, and you will take the title for the day.
Can I raise a point of order in Emma's favour here?
Yes, of course.
Didn't I get 2 points when I swept up the Sri Lankan chef? I thought I got 2 points for.
Yeah, that's true. We were level, and then you went ahead by 2.
No, you got one bonus point. 1 bonus point for guessing the chef. so it's only just the one.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Emma, I tried.
But if you get this
No,
on,
I meant on the last round, on that last go, you got 2 because we were level on 9, and then I got mine wrong, and you got it.
listen,
Ahead by 2.
do not question the quizmaster. He is the final.
That's true.
A bit of needle, though. Definitely a bit of needle here. We like that.
System.
Always makes it more entertaining.
I mean, I've already got one thing wrong earlier, so pointing out my deficiencies.
The production team will deal with you later.
They will indeed. So now, to grab this at the last, Emma, you have to guess how old P. Sen or Prabir Sen of India was when he travelled off.
I'm gonna just zoom in there at 51.
Oh, so close, but not quite close enough. Prabir Sen was 43 when he sadly died in
Now
1970.
that is tragically young.
It is tragic, and
It was.
there is more tragedy, as Tony will tell you.
Well, he died after a day's cricket, rather sadly. He's often thought of as India's first great wicketkeeper. He was also the first Bengali and Bangladesh-born to play for India. He was born in 1926. Was the first wicketkeeper to become a regular feature in the Indian side, known as Kokon. It was a common Bengali name, which actually means someone very young. In an interview with the Daily News in Perth on the 1947-48 tour, he said, "In Calcutta they call babies Kokon, the name just stuck." In fact, I'm not 18, as some seem to think I'm 20, so he was obviously looked younger than he was. He was short and stocky, took loads and loads of brilliant catches. One claim to fame in the tour match against South Australia, at the Adelaide Oval. He had Don Bradman stumped off Vinu Mankad, and he later rated that as the most prized scalp of his career. "My greatest thrill," he said, "was when I stumped Bradman at Adelaide, because he was the greatest genius we have ever met." He said later. He was a pretty useful late order batsman as well. He played first class cricket until 1958, and he was playing club cricket right up to his sad death of variously reported as either a stroke or a heart attack, but nonetheless rather sad, in 1970.
So there you go, a rather sad and somber ending to what's been another absolutely cracking Who's That Weirdo contest between Emma John and Kit Harris. But I have to say, at the end of it, Kit Harris has just forged his way into the lead with 11 points to Emma's 9. Kit Harris takes the title for this week of Who's That Weirdo. How do you feel about it, Kit? I mean, can you articulate your feelings having forged victory?
I want to know if there's a leaderboard, like on Top Gear for the fast laps. How did I do compared to all the others?
Well, I think you're right up there on the. Although Messi Jez did get 20, but then I did give him 7 extra points just because I fancied him beating the Bear. So that was.
He's an outlier.
I suppose I could just give Emma a couple of extra points to beat you. The Bear's now getting very annoyed in the kitchen, I can tell you. So yes, you have. Well, I mean, what we did think of doing was keeping the winner on each week, but that's proved too difficult to get people on. But I'm sure we'll have you back at some point in the
Basically, what he's saying is feel validated, my friend. Feel validated.
Absolutely. 11. Emma, your thoughts? Are you disappointed? I mean, you ran him hard.
I think I did a lot better than I thought I was going to. I'll be completely honest. And I also managed to avoid. I think I managed to avoid saying the W word, which, I was.
You did. Damn it! I'm going to have to take some points off you.
Yeah, it's a weird. I mean, I don't mind the word weird. I don't really love the word weirdo. Can I be honest?
I'll tell you.
I find it just reminds me too much of schoolyard bullying. So I was trying to avoid saying it if at all possible.
Oh, I see. Right. Well, I understand that, but we should explain that the reason that this is called Who's That Weirdo is that basically the Bear, who is one of our commentators and the technical mastermind behind this operation, doesn't do much research for his games. And one game, he suddenly spotted Colin Munro with the ball in hand, and he was so shocked he just came up with the words, "Who's that weirdo?" And we had to explain that Colin Munro does bowl some spin, and so that's why it's called Who's That Weirdo. But you have done well. You've managed not to say weirdo, but you haven't managed to knock Kit off his perch. He has triumphed with the score 11-9. And I'd like to say thank you for your contributions. I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you had a lot of fun, and that you'll be back in the future for more Guerilla-shaped cricket commentary or something like that. Thank you very, very much to both of you. Any final sort of soundings you want to say before going off to do something much, much, much more important?
I'll leave that to Kit, because you've got way more important things to do than I have.
I just want to wish you all a happy new year. And,
how lovely.
And to both of
hope
you.
you'll have a lovely time between now and the start of the English season.
Yes. Okay.
Don't you mean between now and the publication of the Wisden Almanack?
Well, if indeed that can be considered real time.
I was going to say, what are your? I mean, we should probably do what's your hope for the next year of cricket is. Emma, what's your big? I mean, if that's not too big a question to suddenly land on you at the last minute, what are you most looking forward to this year from the great game?
Oh, just watching Stokes' England. I mean,
Of course, absolutely.
I don't care what they do next. I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely, I'm a convert for someone who was a very, very slow, boring batsman. I'm a complete convert to what's going on out there. Kit, any final words you wish to say? What could be your highlight of this year?
Same as every year, Somerset Championship.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be very, very nice indeed. I'm afraid to say that Ian Payne will not be taking part in that attempt. As you know, he only played for Gloucestershire. But thanks to both of you for being with us on Who's That Weirdo, and hope to talk to you again in the not too distant future. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Take care.
Bye.
Craig Matthews, Alan Knott,
Who's that weirdo?
Nigel Sidhu, Neil Mackenzie,
Who's that weirdo?
Wayne Leverock, Shannon Freed,
Who's that weirdo?
Chris Harris, Kevin O'Brien.
Who's that weirdo?